With the Pro Circuit rosters set for the next set and the players busy preparing for the second week of regionals, mostly hiding their tech, it's time to take a look at the path of another upcoming player on the EU side. Therefore, for today, we're going to be jumping in game with Yako Momurai, who previously to qualifying to this Pro Circuit had only completed I think in total of 3 trials and cups, dating back only to about a year ago for set 14, listing his inspiration as K3 Soju for one of the players to join in. And this is one of the games that allowed him to qualify for that Pro Circuit slot. And we are playing in a Nevelin and a Kale game, holding on to these these bastions here with the Poppy and Aatrox pair, as well as opting to hold on to the Shepherds. But we see that Milio, I would believe that we would want to maybe perhaps hold on to another pair of Lissandra. However, our item is a sword and probably a Sunfire if we were to go for an early game slam. If you find one of those upgrades, definitely can consider potential for a tempo and then pair together Fate Weavers maybe here with this Milio. And our Stargazer is the Mountain. I believe that is the reason why we are also opting to hold on to this Talon and a Twisted Fate. And he opts to, called onto the Timebreaker pair as a possibility maybe to high roll that and have the Replicator, but instead is going to heavily index on these mountain units for a possibility to play around those. Our augment selection right here, Electro Charge, a strong combat augment, however without an upgraded frontliner. Taking a combat on tier 1 essentially means we have to lost streak and then go for like a stage 3 spike from out there. And the tower, for example, is just going to be a little bit of a better early game combat augment. The Electro Charge is going to scale heavily with something your strong frontliners like Ramos or like full Vanguard frontlines. And the tower just has time in the early game. Tiny Titans, I believe you can only click this with Anima on 2-1. Would probably default either one of those really. If we believe that we have a possibility of playing something like a Ramos from here, Electro Charge is a possibility. Now, we have rerolled here and we see Stellar Combo. Stellar Combo, an augment that not a lot of players are going to be considering. On a mountain, it is a possibility, but you definitely want a slam. We have a Sterex Gauge for a slam, which is one of the best. Then you look for like a Titan's BT. I think that's the best one you can get for. And I think at this spot, he's quite ahead in points already, so he's angling for a potential safe top 4. Something like risky moves, obviously, but quite risky. Still, this augment has immense value. You have the God Selection prior, you have the components, and if you're able to, especially on like a 3-cost reroll, stabilize on this without bleeding too many lives in the early game with these risky moves, it's absolutely amazing. Slice of Life, General Econ, got nerfed, therefore not as strong as it used to be. If we were to play for maximum AVP, I believe risky moves here might be the play, and then figure it out from there how we can approach the game. But we have these mountain units that we could be considered playing around. We have the Jax already picked up as well right now. So we are going to be hoping to even sack our early game tempo. Generally, these, especially with a slam, these 1-cost hero augments are great at picking up rounds on stage 2. Something like the Leone can be an absolute menace. But he's going to value not leveling, obviously having increased shop odds, have a possibility of maybe rolling down on to the level 4, and nice neat last second, great play right there, slumming in the last second that Sterex Gauge just to squeeze out the win, not sack too much, and we are able to, because of that win, make 10 here. This is one of the crucial decisions that might get overlooked here. He'll try to see with the belt, but we're going to be slamming the Sterex Gauge anyhow. In the reroll, we're fine to be investing removers early on, since our itemization is not going to be quite flexible generally early on, unless we are in a bad item situation. But as I was talking, these hero augments are great at tempoing in early stages. That is where you can preserve your HP. Then you'll hopefully hit on pace on stage 3 around 3-5. And maybe going to be bleeding out a little bit later in the end. Now we get our Aatrox 2 as well online. Another reason why we wanted to had the possibility of picking it up. Immediate Aatrox 2 is amazing. See that there's a Anima player and there was also a Worth the Wait player. Hopefully that's not a Jax from them. Did not see what exactly they have. A kickstart here with an Akali to do not have items invested. Akali can be good in these early stages, but for me she just ends up trolling if you don't have an Edge of Night, and well, that happened right there as well. But now that this Aatrox is going to actually be a beast, you can see he could take the Akali out because of her because of her dash. And we have the upgraded Twisted Fate in the backline to be able to secure another win for ourselves. Going to immediately pick up the bow. That is absolutely amazing. Blood Pact. This is actually a volatile decision also that you can be making in your games. Sometimes you're just the whole lobby has to take -12 because the other offering is something like from a virus that's very weak. But for us, the bow is immediate choice to be picking up. And now we can just The sword is the ideal component if you wanted to complete a BT, but playing around Jack Spear could be quite an investment because we are still at 10 gold. But if we high roll it, we definitely have the tempo to bring it up, and the belt can be transitioned into decent frontline items. Generally, you would want for this Jax have a Protector's Vow, have the Stone Plate. That's what really enables him. And we also have to look out, because you generally don't want to be rolling for only a single unit on the level 5, right? We want to be seeing if you have a possibility of picking up another duo carry, and if you pick up a sword in our item grab bag, we have picked up one sword. We are still leading possibly in these AP components, but we have open up ourselves a possibility of having a multitude of swords that we can be having spare, and maybe consider also playing around this Caitlyn as an option. Unfortunately, going to be losing around there, so going him a little bit of a mixed streak. Still preserving lives, and hopefully we are able to hit quite early on. Unfortunately, haven't naturaled any of the Aatroxes, but we have 5 copies of Twisted Fate, so could consider a Twisted Fate carry as well. Not sure how well he's going to be transitioning into a later game, though. I was reviewed the Twisted Fate reroll yesterday. He seemed to be doing quite fine once you were able to get to those Fate Weavers, 4 Fate Weavers. But is that going to be our plan? This is also a mountain. There we had the medallion, so that added the damage jump and allowed us TF to one-shot everything. Also, another thing to note regarding these mountain hexes is that if the unit is not a Stargazer, you do not need to be placing him on a mountain hex. If he has an emblem, great. If he does not have an emblem, you are free to position him wherever you want. So he had a crash in his void, but it seems that he opted to roll down to 30 gold right here and picked up a Aatrox pair. We had one of those dropped and it didn't get much else. We also holding to these Nova units as a possibility of maybe playing into some around Nova vertical, just slotting in these units for utility as a possibility is quite strong. As a, you know, the only unit is just splash, gain some crit from the Akali, gain some more durability from Maokai, but he opted to roll down to the 30 gold. But we're back in game right now with our second item selection on a roll. Great if you're rolling for multiple units, but do we want to be sitting here now? Obviously, we do not know how early this Aatrox has been coming on, but generally with this Aatrox, we're going to be picking him up, and then we have to make the choice. Can we deeply invest into something like a Twisted Fate, something like the Caitlyn as well? And our items, we're just lacking in that front. We have that open sword, we have opted to put in the Stargazer emblem onto the Aatrox, so our free items are Jewel Gauntlet, and we have Fate Weavers. It's just an AP item at that point. I'm not sure. Charge Transfer would be amazing if we opted to go for the Twisted Fate, obviously sending out those single target nukes. Glass Cannon would make us have to position this Aatrox quite awkwardly, so I'm not sure if we're too excited about it. So perhaps on the roll, simply gaining a little bit of gold. We did not hit hard on our level 4 roll down. This could help us rebound at the econ. 5-year center is going to be quite awkward. It's great for Jax, but the hex is going to be, I believe it's here, right? And then we can index on this side and hopefully protect this Aatrox somehow. Or he's considering possibility just putting in the Aatrox in that also for the damage jump combo part and make him even more durable, more bruiser. That would be an interesting choice as well. Team building, more value in your, like, whenever you can use those dupes, right, for more than 1 cost unit. So we are going to opt to go for an honor roll. We can see another neat trick here with, we're not buying this 2-star Akali. We're probably going to be buying her after the round starts. We're not going to be rolling. They're not considering rolling much deeper. So since we want to proc the honor roll, we feel the Akali. We can buy her now, and then she's going to combine at the start of next round, and we're going to be gaining the honor roll proc. Hopefully his little stuttering sorts out, as yeah, he had a crash. He is a player from, if I'm not mistaken, Kyrgyzstan. So never can know how well the internet connections hold over there. Now going to utilize, still here sitting at 40, going to use just a free reroll to see if we can maybe hit this Twisted Fate 3. This is our most likely scenario, so that's probably what we want to be transitioning our Rod and Glove into. Something like maybe a Striker's Flame and a Death Cap would be great, or we would want some management for him as well. See that there are a few players playing around this Aatrox here. This also seems to be 5-4-5-4 playing most likely around that Lulu blue buff Nashor's Tooth to open Glove for a Jeweled Gauntlet. Most likely going to be holding, hopefully not holding on to more Aatroxes. Sometimes they just squeeze out an Aatrox 3, and there's a couple of other players. Evelyn's boon here is quite appealing in a sense that, again, it's free gold, but we want to be spiking right now. This is more for your fast 8, fast 9 boards when you already have a presentable board. Cloak, extra items are going to be great. Our options, augments so far are combat and Econ, therefore just utilizing these gods to fill out the void that you're lacking, which scale here is going to offer for items is great. Also gives us a cloak that can transition into either the stone plate because we do not tank items yet either, or just like a drop helm for your Twisted Fate, right? Definitely in a little bit item hungry, especially in this double silver lobby right now. Picking up a bow, which I would assume he might just, utilize for maybe utility purposes as well. Going to opt to roll quite deep right now as we are close to that Aatrox. Find that Aatrox. Going to move the... Oh, right. I forgot cloak. Obviously, we have the BT still yet to be made. Amazing spot right there. Obviously, just going to be sorting out the 3-item Aatrox. We are on our spike. We have hit pretty much on tempo. Had to roll a little bit deep, but hopefully this is going to allow us to enable rebound at Econ. Quite close fight here against already a Kindred one there. Thankfully, it was only a single item right there. And we have opted to go for a Rage Blade of our own. And interestingly, placed it on a Caitlyn, perhaps identifying that she's going to be just the better user of this item than even the 3-star Twisted Fate. As well, having about 1.5 items, not sure the multiplicative value is going to be as strong because the Stargazer emblem just has 10 AP. She's not going to utilize it as well, but the Stargazer buffs are going to go to Twisted Fate anyhow. Well, he believes that this is to be the stronger choice, and he is the pro, so let's going to believe in him. Most likely going to be sitting here for quite a while and going to be pushing more. Get our second Stargazer emblem online, so that is amazing that we were able to slot this in at 2-1. Still opting to hold that this is the Kali is going to be our most likely second, and could also consider playing around some Brawler. Tom Kench, yeah, we mentioned Brawler, the guy that could help us definitely rebound our Econ shows back up. Going to level obviously to 6 here just to try to preserve the streak. Going to be on pay tempo, do not want to be level 5. Slam that steadfast. Finally need to sort out some frontline items and have another Rage Blade for an option. So maybe we have to consider the possibility of going for like a Kindred and then like a Crown Guard could synergize together with this steadfast. I would think we're definitely looking for a possibility of an item augment in this upcoming selection to just continue with our tempo or any strong combat augment. Hopefully be able to make the gold back by the streak. Also holding onto the Zaya right here as another Stargazer mountain unit to be slotting in. Climb the ladder actually could be quite good on the Stargazer since we're obviously synergizing them with the mountain. Provide more value. Clockwork Accelerator, great for your Blackline stalling comms, but the augment in itself is generally a little underpowered. Arcane Victory, another generic decent combat option, so let's see which shield he seems to prefer from these three, which we are defaulting. Gilded Steel, if you're able to run just a 1 or 2 5-cost units, this is quite strong. It provide more durability for your frontline, especially like ramping comes from like a Blanc and utilize it quite well, as you're most likely going to be transitioning to the full 5-cost board right away. Glass Cannon offering again is going to make our positioning quite awkward. So he's opting to consider the Arcane Victory to be the strongest of the 3. You have that Rage Blade, can see the scaling. Aatrox needs a little bit of time, being a 1-cost still, does not have that much spread of a damage. And he's actually going to be going for it. He considers this to be the strongest option. Talk that we wanted items or combat, and we're going to be picking up a combat option right here as we saw no item options. So we have a long way to climb here with the items we have right now. Quite low in an item game, and hopefully this is also going to be seen across the rest of the lobby. Now, we have this one Ramos with 1 item and Veigar 2 with 3 items. Skipeus here trying to play down that Veigar print. Going to be easy for ourselves. Is the Ramos 1 really stronger than just itemizing that Meep C3? Well, maybe they believe so. Going to now consider transitioning the Rage Blade to the Twisted Fate. He's going to consider that as a stronger option. Okay, we're testing both fronts. Fair enough. Maybe that is the case. Let's see how we fare. Against a Jinx reroll that has hit Jinx 3. Thankfully, their frontline is also quite a bit of a paper, and Twisted Fate is generally better at dealing with these single frontliners, but due to the single target damage, well, Caitlyn as well. But unfortunately, the Jinx 3 is just too big of a test for ourselves. Definitely quite stronger with that itemization as well. Now, are we going to index once more on a sword right now? Could make a Giant Slayer slam if we wanted to. I don't think Gunblade is going to be that strong of an item. Or are we going to go up to sacrifice our health and hope for a 2-star focus that could be maybe just slot in? We have that Stargazer emblem, so we can work around with quite a lot of them. And he's going to opt to go with it. Does not want a Giant Slayer. just going to want to see a little bit more gold, as we're also down here on the 30 gold left. And Tomken's printing coming out. We hit the Kindred immediately. I mean, I always talk how with these little bit less underpowered augments, you have to have the balls to collect them, and then you need to also believe in more dog to high roll your way out. And now we're going to get to Wrap because of the blitz reset on the double tier, on the double Zaya. He's probably not too happy about it. Also not in the position really to be pushing level 9 for the Jhin right there, so that's an easy pickings for ourselves. We also opted to go with another stun here with the Nova Selector onto the Aatrox. And this is absolutely insane for us. Getting that Kindred, we could nicely even transition if we find another time, like a Kraken right here. Then I don't know what we do with this death cap at this point, but whatever. And this, we are triple stunning. We're just buying time for this Twisted Fate and Aatrox to do work against the Lulu board here. Should be no problem in my opinion. The Lulu has the stand on her own, but we simply have the board wide ones. This is absolutely great. The thing though with Aatrox Hero, Nova Selectoring him, is that I believe his Nova Selector damage scales of his armor and magic resist, that we can see like a triple stone plate Aatrox on that Nova reroll being able to one-shot. But here, I am not too sure. We still need to be sorting out our anti-heal, so this would be something like, this would be Last Whisper, Morelos. We do not need Last Whisper, we have the Aatrox there for Shred and Sunder. But we are working only with 10 gold, so are we considering possibility to taking this? This could also become Mashers to the Jeweled Gauntlet. We talk about obviously Fate Weir's don't, but Jeweled Gauntlet, but then we could move the Rage Blade to the Kindred. She's going to utilize that quite fine. Gives us 3 item TF, and it seems that he's going to be agreeing with that. But okay, never mind. We're just going to be definitely sorting out Morello, going to value the necessity for this anti-heal so high. Fortunately, we weren't able to find a third tank item from that offering, but well, we didn't want to roll. We want to be trying to see if we can push levels. If we are stuck here on the level 8 with this board, right, we have already our Kindred 2. Only thing that can make us stronger beyond items at this point is pushing levels and maybe slotting in another 5 cost. I'm not even sure exactly what we want to be considering from this spot. Let's see how we fare against this Vanguard LeBlanc board. Has a decent itemization on there, but the Aatrox was able to dodge the burst coming on him and Twisted Fate clean up the LeBlanc. Another TK print allowing us to further push our recon. Holding on to this Nunu. Obviously we can slot in more Stargazers, gain the more mountain stacks right there. That is also another possibility for us to increase our damage comps output. Quite interesting of a board here, playing around the 5 Nova Mountain together. A very interesting game all across the board so far. Against the Kindred carry, the Nova Tempo board that the player has opted into it, and we're going to be eliminating them. Even though they took down our Aatrox, the Twisted Fate is still seen as the buffs seem to have worked. He is a prominent carry, even though you might have the best setup on him. We have that Rage Blade for a mana gen, substituting attack speed for mana gen, right? And then just the raw AP and Morelos. He's not going to be the best applier, but hey, AP is AP. He's going to be utilizing it, and hopefully we're able, if we get him on a big tank, it's going to do most of the job. Now we're against the Marauder board. It's going to be a little bit tricky. The Master Yi is in our Aatrox, but the Aatrox is able to full tank it. We stun him with these board-wide stuns. That's going to protect our Aatrox, and we're going to be winning. He's typing a good beat in chat. He's very happy that we were able to pick up these wins, and we are closing it with the guaranteed top 4, and I think that's what he wanted to. Still not going to go for the crown. They're going to go to simply get 3 item carries across the board. Well, 2.5 with his Mountain Emblem, I suppose. But now at this point, when you're getting another Mountain Emblem, you could be considering that as a full item. The 8th emblem by the end of the day is balanced around this the particular mountain path. And simply going to believe that these stuns are going to be enough that we do not need to invest more in our frontline items. And Maokai is also going to love the HP. And we do not have items for those. But unfortunately, we're going to be taking a loss here against that Lulu Reball, because we opted to go for that Replicator Lulu MF Duo carry. Another thing that you did not see as much, you don't see as much, but was very successful from the right spots in this tournament across the all regions. Well, what is the spot? You see that MF is open, and you have the possibility to fully itemize her as well, and you do not have the chance to go for Milio, I suppose. They're in the standard board. Against double, Zaya here has made it to that level 9 with the Jhin, is also going to have enough burst On the same side, we just do not have enough upfront damage. It seems to be getting through these tanks faster than the opponents, but now we get another emblem, and now we should be getting even more stats, and we gain more attack speed, which is quite nice. So far, the earlier paths of this mountain is more defensive, and now we're getting more power. We're slotting in all the 5 costs. We're holding onto this Morgana as a nice spike. Find the Fiora, the neat thing about the Nova package that can be flexed around quite a lot of these 5 costs. We're going to opting to go for a Vex duo queries, immediately find Vex 2, as she does not seem to be played around in this lobby. So let's see if the Mountain Vex is the difference maker here against the Jinx reroll. Again, now they have full upgraded frontline. The stuns are coming in and we have enough time, and the Aatrox makes it to the backline, but this Vex will have to do the rest of the work, and she does so. Just enough damage going out in last second for Twisted Fate to remain alive and clean up the fight. Now we have secured ourselves at top 3, and let's see if this Twisted Fate with this... well, it's actually a decent itemization in the end. Again, as mentioned, we do not need to be placing this Tahm Kench if we didn't want to on the Mountain Hex. He's not going to be getting any buffs. We can be just seeing where we want to position him. He's going to opt to go for a backline. It's an interesting choice. Maybe wanting to other units to draw aggro. Aatrox being able to tank a little bit as well, has that health and healing. So let's see how we fare against the replicators. The thing against the MF is that he has the clear path onto that you know, the opposite adjacent paths, and we are in Silver Scrapes, so we're going to be pushing levels to level 10, maybe perhaps another 5 cost that we can slot in. Blitzcrank is a free slot in that you can always be go for. Shen having holding under the bear. Blitzbear should suffice. We do not have any removers though to move the emblem on him, and we missed the Hex on Aatrox. That's completely fine. Maybe we wanted to solo frontline, solo focus the damage into this Rexstar right here. Again, but the fight seems to be going the same way, but this time we have protected our Vex actually on the opposite side, so we're going to be cleaning up. Need to do this once more. I'm not sure what their level 10 spike was. We'll have to see that again. I think we still would want to see more frontline presence, but unfortunately we're unable to get that Tahm Kench 2. Find a Blitz 2, but Vex 2 on level 9 and 10, but cannot find a Tahm Kench 2. That's a little unfortunate on that side, as even this player is not playing around it. And they Bensek went up to go for a Shen. Again, we're going to be on the same side. They have that Maokai on there right in front, but the backliners, we just simply are able to go through. It's an interesting see the fight right here. Our front line is just, in some sense, paper, right? But we have those stuns to buy enough time. They have no stun immunity around their board. We have the scaling aspect from the backline of the Vex, and she starts attacking Pox, that rogue onto the Belveth. The Aatrox is able to do his job, get the knockups, buy enough time for the backline to clean up. So even though it's an Aatrox game, we saw that this Twisted Fate and later in this game, the Vex do a lot of the heavy lifting. Congratulations to Yakumo Murai for making the pro circuit, and if you're going to be making plays like this in such high stakes environment and finding ways to succeed with them, obviously due to some high rolls, but nonetheless well executed game plan, you definitely deserve that spot, and you're definitely going to be entertaining all of us watching at home. I would like to thank you for watching. I hope that you learned something new, and I wish to see you in the next one. Have a good one.